I love it. You know, we're having a great time.
Do all the cholos in El Paso say hello to me?
Well, in El Paso, okay, let me tell you what happens. When, you know, we're on tour with Ozzy, right? And in between Ozzy shows, we do our own shows. And so in El Paso, we're doing a headlining show, and I go after the gig, and I sign autographs. And so I'm signing all the autographs. And they're like, hey, tell George you said hi. How's George? George is all right. How are you, George? I was like, wow.
Hey, so everybody in El Paso.
Yeah, right?
Oh, cool. All right, so.
But it was very cool.
It's nice, right?
And I text you right after that.
You did, because you know we're boys, man. And you watch the show on the tour bus every night, you were saying.
Just about every single
night. So that's very nice. Hey, and touring in Europe and all the stuff that you've done, have you ever, in the old days, have you ever gone to a place now and forgotten that you've been there before?
Yeah. No, it's not just the old days either. It happened to me recently, but I can't remember which town it was.
I love that.
It happens because you get on a roll and you don't really pay attention to where you're going all that much. You looked at the itinerary before you left, and then they just set you off running and you just go.
Yeah.
And you don't really think too much about where you're at, you know, for the most part.
When you were in Australia, you remember being there?
Yeah.
When you were in Australia, you got in trouble for tweeting Justin Bieber. Like this whole thing blew up. It was like innocuous, right?
Well, okay. I mean, I wasn't really hip to the whole Justin Bieber phenomenon. So we're flying. No, I mean, hey, at the time, I just wasn't really that hip to it. Anyway, so we were flying in, you know, my wife and my kids and I are flying to Australia to do some press. And we get to the airport, and it was like the Beatles had just arrived. And I was like, I don't think this is for me. I mean, all things considered, you know, I appreciate it and everything. But anyway, it turns out that Justin had just flown in previous, right?
Yeah.
So they decided, well, Slash is coming, we'll hang out, you know. Anyway, and so we went to the hotel and we unpacked, and then we went to this carnival place, and all of a sudden I get this tweet from Justin Bieber saying, you know, we'd like to go to dinner. And I was like, you know, and I mean, I've heard of him, you know, but I just didn't. And then within 15 minutes, like 200,000 kids started tweeting me. And it blew out my phone. So it took the battery out.
It killed your battery.
And so you got to, you know, for me, I'm just going, what the hell is happening here?
And did you tweet them back?
Well, so later on that day, my wife and I were walking around, and we were getting bombarded on the street by girls asking where we were going to be going to dinner and stuff. And then so at some point, you know, I wasn't really looking forward to going to dinner and doing that whole thing. So we said, how about the missus and I take you to a titty bar? And then
They start going there?
well, yeah. And they like young boys and so on. So, and so his assistant tweeted me back saying that, well, he goes to bed early and his mom's his chaperone, so I don't think that's going to be appropriate. So that was sort of the end of it. But now, actually, Justin and I have established a little bit of a relationship. We know who each other are.
Yeah. And when he turns 18, is the offer still good?
You know, all things considered, when he turns 18, I don't know. You know, he's on his own. Because if he isn't doing it now, I don't want to be around when he turns 18 and realizes it's legal. You know?
Yeah.
When I was 16, if I had the amount of trim that he potentially could, oh man, they'd have to put me away.
But okay. But can I go with you?
Yeah.
I read that you're starting your own production company to do movies.
I am starting my own production. It's a horror movie
I
company.
love it. How good is that? Yeah. What's your favorite horror film?
Well, there's a lot of them. I think probably my all-time favorite is somewhere between The Exorcist and The Omen. Because those are like heavy. And that's what kind of